Seeing everything a brand new world has to offer is often a big reason we play games. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the top 10 new exploration games of 2020. Just a quick disclaimer to start this one off, we're talking about exploration games. That doesn't necessarily mean open world games, just games that encourage exploration. Also, Dying Light 2 and Elder Scrolls 6 are not coming out this year, so just putting that out there up front. At number 10 is the Eternal Cylinder, which is a, well, let's just say strange looking game. It puts you on an alien world in control of what they call a Trebhum. It's a thing. You see it. It's what you're controlling. That's a Trebhum. And basically you explore this strange world while trying to avoid an eternal cylinder, obviously. The cylinder just basically rolls around and crushes everything. The idea is more or less to continue to mutate your Trebhum as you overcome puzzles, explore new things, find new areas, traverse differently. And it basically tries to make a bunch of gross, weird-looking creatures and environments cute. It is an interesting looking game. For me, the question is, will the game eventually let you stop the Eternal Cylinder? But that's a question that has not been answered. We don't have an exact date for launch, but the Eternal Cylinder is coming to PC and consoles sometime this year. At number 9 is a game called Beyond Blue, a single-player exploration narrative that is going to take you diving into the deep sea. Beyond Blue isn't a particularly long game, 2 to 3 hours, but you swim around the ocean and it's highly detailed, it's pretty, it's relaxing, it's actually kind of educational. You actually do see and hear a lot of things you probably are never going to see in real life, and they're real. The story isn't like gonna shock you or anything, but it is well done and it does feel like it emotionally lands at least. The game itself was kind of designed as a calming experience, and it definitely does exactly what it sets out to do. It's already out, it's $20 on Steam now, it's actually really well done. At number 8 is Occupant Mars, the game, which bills itself as a highly technical open world sandbox game about Mars colonization. It is a beautiful game. You will see some of the most impressive renderings of a Mars vista you have seen in a video game in this game. You'll see beautiful sunrises, sunsets, etc., but as you build, you'll also see grass, trees, technology, and it's all rendered with amazing detail, as are the physics for your vehicles and traversal. In some ways it's a resource management sim, in some ways it's a city planner, in some ways it's a sandbox game, etc. You're basically developing systems to exist on Mars, to occupy the planet, as the name says. It has a planned release date of 2020, and I don't know if that's a planned release for the early access or a planned release for the full game. It is apparently going to go through an early access stage, and we're kind of halfway through the year at this point. But keep your eyes out, it's a gorgeous looking game that looks actually really enjoyable. At number 7 is EVERSPACE, a single-player shooter, which is not typically how you describe an exploration game, but there is a big open world with a large amount of exploration to have. And it sort of takes classic RPG elements, the kind of looter-shooter elements you're seeing a lot today, mixes it all together into what I think is an actually pretty novel space game. It really seems a lot like you've always got something to do in this game in a manner that's quite good. Not busy work, you're in it for, like I said, exploration, for more or less building your name and your fortune. This game is going to be going into Steam Early Access in December 2020. There's a demo of it you can play right now, though. That's on Steam. I definitely recommend it. I like it. I think it shows a lot of promise, and I look forward to the full finished EverSpace 2. At number 6 is Biomutant, a game that frankly also looks like a lot of different things at once. It's an action RPG, but we're seeing that it has a very large open world, and they're placing a lot of emphasis on it. As far as exploration goes, you're going to need to find different vehicles, different tools in order to access different areas of the open world, which is apparently quite large, 16 square kilometers, and apparently quite dense. Obviously, I haven't played it yet, but it is a beautiful looking game from everything we've seen of it. As far as exploration, honestly, it looks like it takes some cues from Breath of the Wild, which is a game that really did a good job with that, in my opinion. It looks like a colorful, beautiful world that mixes some realism in, And also, I absolutely love what the boss fights look like. Obviously, that's not what we're here to talk about, but they really look fun, and combining that with the exploration elements we're talking about here, I think Biomutant's going to be a hell of a game. It's also been one we've been waiting for quite a while. Biomutant's coming pretty much to consoles and PC, supposedly this year. I have hopes because it's been a while. It was supposed to come out in 2018, and obviously it's a cool looking game, but I'm hoping all of the extra time and polish really brings it to another level, because it's on its head, looks great. Number 5 is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, the recent Assassin's Creed games have placed much more emphasis on exploration than previous ones, and it looks like Valhalla is pretty much here to do that. What's particularly interesting is that Valhalla is going to allow you to explore both Norway and England during the Viking Age. In England, there's 4 kingdoms, and yes, London is in the game, which is really interesting considering we've had a game of Assassin's Creed 3 take place in London in a different era. A lot of it is going to be about settling the farmland in England. Honestly, in my opinion, there's a very big chance that this game is really ambitious, and that can be either good or bad. Honestly, the way that the Assassin's Creed games have been going, I'm going to lean towards good, and I'm also just interested to see how they do London again, basically. Different era London. That's going to be hitting late in the year, probably holiday season, and it's coming to basically every platform, including the new platforms, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. At number 4 is Everwild, which is a beautiful, stylistic, cartoony, kind of Breath of the Wild looking adventure game. Honestly, I'm kind of stoked to see the kind of influence that Breath of the Wild has had on adventure games. But this one definitely has its own kind of cartoon style. We don't have a massive amount of information. We know it's an open world adventure game, and from the trailer we can extrapolate a couple of things. There may be some hunting, maybe even animal capturing, but exactly what the nature of the gameplay is, I'm not 100% on. One thing's for certain, we are going to spend tons of time investigating what that beautiful world has to offer. It's like sort of a surrealist take on the environmental style you see in Breath of the Wild, and I'm sorry to continue to bring that up, but it definitely gave me those vibes. Something I think is interesting, though, is the possibility of maybe either co-op or the idea that you have maybe a team that's controlled by AI. Again, this is just full-on speculation based on what we saw in the trailer, but they're moving around kind of stealthily in groups, which, as far as I'm concerned, implies possible multiplayer. But again, I wouldn't put it above perhaps an AI team-based thing. We've been seeing more of that, and as developers have been experimenting with it, I think that it's been turning into a viable single-player strategy, which is cool. One thing's for sure, this is gorgeous. I can't wait to see more about it. Rare is a talented development studio, and I'm looking forward to seeing this. At number 3 is Ghosts of Tsushima, which is coming out very soon this month, and is frankly one of the most beautiful looking games out there. Now, they didn't go for like a cartoon look. It's perhaps maybe a surrealism or a hyper-realism they went for. I don't really know how to put it, because it definitely doesn't just try to mirror real life. It's certainly injected with some element of style, and you're going to be looking at it all the time, and I think that just the look of this game is going to do a lot in making you want to see every single place in this world. The goal of the game is, of course, learning a new form of martial arts, a new ghost form. This game has been called a samurai simulator by some, which is too many S's for one sentence. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm super stoked to drop into this world and just see everything and slice something. Frankly, that's also going to be gratifying. Ghost of Tsushima is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and it hits July 17th. At number 2 is Cyberpunk 2077, and we've talked to some extent about the kind of open world to expect out of this game. I'm super excited, because the impressions that people have put up who have played this game, Jake included, show us a world that is just incredibly dense and vertical. Technically, the open world is smaller than The Witcher's, but at the same time, it goes up. The buildings are, for the most part, able to be entered, and it just seems like a massive undertaking to see everything in this world. And of course, there's a story going on. There's things to do. There's stuff that you can actually do, where, if I'm honest, a lot of what I'm interested in is just finding everything and seeing everything, going everywhere. It looks like such a beautiful world, and they've done so much with it apparently. And yeah, all of the other aspects of the game look phenomenal in my eyes. I don't know how anybody could not want to play this game at this point. It looks amazing in every way. And at number 1 is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which is the first flight simulator in a while, and they claim it will have every single airport on Earth, meaning you are going to want to fly over the entire planet. A completionist will say to themselves, yes, so I'm going to see all of Earth. Excellent. But this game looks so massive using satellite images, Bing maps, everything, that I'm questioning if you're actually going to be able to explore the entire world. Like, if you'll have the time to. Which is a question that I think is great. Basically having the freedom to go everywhere and see the world, deal with realistic weather and beautiful landscapes. It sounds really interesting. And in a way that previous flight simulator games really haven't been able to give you, on account this is like just one of the most realistic looking games I've seen. Flight Simulator is hitting Windows and Xbox One sometime this year. We've also got this really interesting game called Satisfactory, which is this first-person open-world factory building game, where the point is to basically explore the landscape and create a factory on it, which is kind of depressing, but also kind of super cool at the same time. And you're capable of making some pretty insane things. It's in early access now, and I really have to recommend you try it. It's such a weird game, but like really satisfying to play that type of a game. Like I said, it's on Steam Early Access. It's $26. Try it out. That's all for today. You played any of these games? You gonna play any of these games? You excited? Interested? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. And if you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. The best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.